We are in London for this season's Premier League Poker. 16 players arrived in one of the most exciting cities in the world and were divided into 2 groups of 8. They've been battling it out for points in a league format, and now it's crunch time for the players in Group A. We can expect mayhem as they all try and qualify for a seat at the final table. Last time the cards went in the air, this is how things shaped up.
The league standings were very tight at the start of Group A's 4th heat. Only Jonathan Duhamel had won enough points to secure a seat in the final. The rest were scrambling for big points to win through to the next stage of the tournament. So, the pressure was on last time and tensions were certainly running high.
Your argument's like slam dunk, absolutely.
And it's also correct.
You're like the kid in the candy store saying 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 2 is what? Is that how you win your arguments? I'm the champion, baby. He's a contender. I've got nothing to gain by playing him except money.
Jungleman won a huge pot off the 13-time WSOP bracelet winner Phil Hellmuth as he fluked a straight on the river, and Hellmuth was fuming.
The guy had 600,000. He had a lock to make the final table, and he risked it all against me.
Negreanu needed a big result to stay in contention. He caught Duhamel bluffing and gambled with an ace-queen.
How do I do it? It's not over. Don't do that to me.
It didn't pay off. Duhamel hit trips on the river. Negreanu was the first to be eliminated from this season's Premier League. These are now the league standings for Group A. Jonathan Duhamel has already locked up his place at the final table. The rest of the league is very tight as players try to secure a top 3 finish for a guaranteed seat at the final. Remember, at the end of the night, players in 4th and 5th positions will get a second chance in the playoffs. But those who finish in the bottom 3, like Daniel Negreanu, will be eliminated from this season's Premier League. Here's a reminder of how the points are dished out. The winner will get 16, the runner-up will get 11, then 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 0 points for coming in 8th place. And tonight, it's their last chance to accumulate these precious league points. The players have been on a short break, reviewed the points, checked the blog, and now ready to get back to the action.
After a great showing in the first 3 heats, Jonathan has already qualified for the final table, but everyone else is still in it, and they're still trying to get to that final table, and the points are quite bunched up. So talk to us about what this means for the other players.
Well, I think the other players really got to take like the points that they have in consideration. Like, let's take Marvin and Scott actually have to gamble a lot. They need to finish 1st or 2nd because they're the last 2 in the heat so far. So they need to be able to get some points. On the other hand, though, players like Sam Trickett and Antonio needs to maybe play a little tighter today because they don't need that many points. They just need to hang in there and move up the ladder a little bit. So they're going to be able to make it to the final. So I think that all the players are going to play really differently, and it's going to be interesting to see how the play develop with that. So at the end, it's just I'm going to try to put a lot of pressure on the guys. Hopefully I'm going to have some hands, because if I have to bluff all the time, it's not always good, but for sure I'm going to go out there, put a lot of pressure, and see what happens.
I just made the nittiest fold ever.
I absolutely hate every single one of you with a passion.
Going pretty well so far.
I just couldn't help myself.
Me and my nemesis.
No, seriously, no. Floor!
Cards are back in the air, and already the players are needling each other.
Did I say me? You just said you're the best in the world at no-limit hold'em, right? Are you?
Tournaments? Of course. It's not even close. I've been doing it 30 years.
Wow.
And I still win. There's this thing called record. It's what you've done.
Let's just play heads up, Phil. No money, winner shoots loser with a taser gun. Come on, one time.
Forget the money, just no money.
Forget the money, just taser.
Just taser.
Because I would pay a lot of money to taser your ass.
Antonio,
I'd have a fake gun.
you finally evolved to something very clever. Congratulations.
Well, I've been offering you the taser thing for years.
There are so many spots here that we don't know what the thing is, and I think the players don't, but I can tell you what they were saying out on the break.
Yeah, tell me.
They were saying, Sam Trickett said something. He said he's pretty sure that the strategy sometimes is that when you recognize something like when Jonathan Duhamel is doing something wide, like for instance when he shoved on the river against Phil, he said that's when you have to call because you're in such a good spot. He said, and you're looking for those.
Yep.
Just wait for better, you know?
Meaning like King 8 of spades can be a monster value hand where it's so hard to get chips with overlay, and you can just clump into huge chunky amounts of overlay. Wow, this is so much fun. It's sick. I can't take it. I cannot take it.
Now this is another one of those spots where Duhamel, he can. It doesn't matter if he raises now or later. He can put so much pressure at different parts of the hand. It's because Seiver knows that. He knows he's in danger
so
now.
massively handcuffed because he's, you know, if he goes out next, he's out and everyone's going to be free, you know.
He has drawn the worst seat at this table, Scott Seiver, to the right of Jonathan Duhamel, the monster that doesn't care.
Wow.
You know, there was a...
Wow. Oh, it's where the poker is passing the points, and it's wrong, because Duhamel knows he's taking it to the extreme. Duhamel doesn't care.
Check. Check.
Check. It went check, check. And Duhamel's doing that just for pot control. It's a good hand. He doesn't want to get blown off it. This is so insane. Oh, my God. This is so insane. He just beat ace-jack.
I'm not sure how much
He just beat ace-10. He just beat some real pocket deuces, whatever. This is sick. Wow. Wow. That was so awesome. It just goes to show
He
you.
called him with ace high.
Wow.
Strong poker.
Duhamel just eating these players alive. And, you know,
They should know, don't play hand. The second you shouldn't even, if he has the chance to be in a hand, don't enter. That's what I say.
600,000 now, and every reason to believe that the longer this goes on, the higher Duhamel goes, and he could seriously be in a million in chips before you blink your eye. Here's the standings.
It's like, yeah, let's go over the standings.
Negreanu's out. 2 more players will get relegated tonight. Right now, Seiver and Rettenmaier in the zone. This is going to be the absolute worst hand that Seiver has played in the Premier League, because if he can't get action here, he's sick as a dog.
Yep. Yep. Can he fold pocket fours? Is it right? Let's look at it. How much did he build it up to? 45? The blinds are 3-6.
He's going to shove?
Yeah, I don't
He's going to shove, and he's getting called. And this is going to be a big spot right now.
Wow, I had ace-7. Good fold, Phil.
For Marvin Rettenmaier, if he goes out, actually things open up quite wide.
Oh, poor Marvin.
And only the 4 can save Marvin right now.
So close. Come on.
Scott gave me a dead like that.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Marvin. That's tough.
The crucial pot for Marvin, of course, early on with the set of 7s against a set of aces. Sorry, buddy. You didn't deserve that, says Scott. Have a look now. Rettenmaier, relegated. Negreanu, evicted. 6 players playing for 5 spots right now.
Wow.
And unless it's Duhamel, the next player out is evicted from the Premier League.
I think other players just looked at the whole format a little differently than me. And, well, sadly.
Sadly, we are definitely losing you from this, but would you come and play the Premier League again? Will we see you here again?
I definitely will, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully we'll see you here again at the Premier League, not in the final, but maybe next season. Thank you very much.
I mean, obviously, if a guy like Antonio or Trickett goes out next and only takes 3 points, then Seiver can still be evicted if he's the one out after that. But the likelihood is that the next player evicted.
The jump is 6.
The likelihood is that the next player evicted is the one out. Now this is dangerous.
Right, showing
because
people
Jonathan
that,
Duhamel is in the big blind here.
He has nothing to lose. Let's see how Duhamel plays it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because he knows Antonio's handcuffed.
He's not going to
He
fold
has
ever.
3 times the number of chips. He has to call for value 100%. Now there's a million ways he can win it. Wow, Antonio hates this.
Me and my nemesis.
He knows.
Well, he knows
easily-
Duhamel is going to call, and
Oh, this is
question
terrible.
is
I hope
is
that,
Esfandiari going to bet this, or is he going to try and keep this small?
This is very interesting. If this could prove to be spellbindingly bad for Antonio. He knows he's in a bad position.
I mean,
Antonio's going to be absolutely sick, and I think if your opponent calls, I think you shut down 100% of the time. But I'm not familiar enough with this betting line to know if that's correct. This is a great card for Ace-10, however. Antonio should like this card because whoever was ahead is still ahead. Do you know what I'm saying? That 5 is blankzilla. I think Antonio was supposed to just check, but that's good. I like that. Now he has a free opportunity for an ace.
Duhamel's hand is so good that he doesn't have to shove all in, does he?
And Antonio's in a bad spot because this is a spot where, in a cash game at least for sure, when somebody bets, you feel like, well, I have 2 paired and an ace. I'm 28,000. Is that what he bet? 38,000. So 197.40. It's going to cost him 4/20ths, 1/5 of his stack. And it's a good hand, by the way, on this board. Do you know what I'm saying? Ace 10 has a lot of value here.
He might be thinking to himself, if Duhamel had nothing, wouldn't he have bet more?
All he has to do is be right 22% of the time, and it's a call in a cash game. You know what I'm saying?
I think you can throw the math out the window there, though.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at it. The straight math is 33%. So if he thinks he's good 40%, he's got to call. I would think I'm good more than 40%. I think you have to call. You know, if he thinks he's good more than a third of the time, it's a call. But Antonio's going for a free roll and trying to learn something with anything, any time. Wow.
Mom, is he bluffing? Is he bluffing?
No, that's not fair. One player to a hand, but that's in the. Everyone knows that Antonio was joking, so it's fair for him to ask.
All right, you win.
He's passed ahead. He made the right decision.
How did he do that? How did he fold? Antonio. No wonder why Antonio wins $18.4 million. You know, I get it.
Good job, Bob.
I get it. I didn't know Antonio could play really until today. I'm kidding. That was a joke. But Antonio, hats off. I don't know. I'm going to call there.
He just wins, Duhamel. And for Antonio, he's now the short stack. Or he's very, very close, actually.
It's funny. He preserved a lot of life by doing that. He's basically level with 3 other guys.
Well, he's got 19 points.
You know, if he calls there, he's a little short stack.
Not only does he have 19 points, but he has a tiebreaker against Trickett. Because he's won one of these heats, he has a tiebreaker pretty much against everybody.
I would have called that and then played tighter and then I would have walked away and just tried to. You know what I'm saying? It's so sick. This is so sick. How does he fold that, Jesse? Could you fold that?
Yeah, I mean, I would have folded before the flop. So I mean, I obviously don't know what's. I obviously don't know what's going on.
I smell. We're driving by the farm. Oh, there's the manure. Oh. I like that raise. Duhamel should be abusing Hellmuth.
I don't mind. Just when you have the 7 high and I smooth call with the kings, I just don't want to lose. That's all. Give me change.
Luckily, that's no one's fault but your own.
Yeah, no, I mean he gave me the double with the queens, just like I was hoping. I just forgot to call. But to be fair, I mean in my mind I was thinking only a king. King would be. I had a bet, and then when it popped off.
Trickett and Esfandiari have more at stake than they even probably know. They have to both know that they can't
Yeah, you're smart, but not that smart.
play any pots. Or if they play a pot, they have to win it, right? I mean, isn't it off the chart? You know, just can lose. You can just be in the bottom 3 so easily if you're Esfandiari or Trickett and you have a big hand and you lose. It's just over. You can't ever do anything. So much, you're shut out.
I'll tell you what, though. I think there's one guy out of those 4 who's not going to be the next one out, and it might be a bold prediction, but I don't think it's going to be Phil Hellmuth. Actually, this is the strongest part of Hellmuth's game, grinding the short stack. You know what I mean?
Bet 20,000. Cool.
And look at this. Jungleman sees that he has 900,000 in chips. This is where, even though Jungle can never get out, sometimes the poker takes over and the points leave. I think Jungle has to know the paradigm. I'm good. I have to extract value. There it is.
I don't think he's going to think about that until the river.
Oh, this is a horrible card for such a nice two-pair hand. Will Duhamel fire one more time?
He has to bet 100% of the time here. The question is how much. I mean, all in might be the one bet he doesn't want to make, Phil, because why would he want to risk going out here? If
doesn't Duhamel have too many points, nothing bad can happen to him? This is going to get called, I think.
Yeah, but he can make so much money, even if he's wrong here.
Sorry, I'm saying Jungleman might just... I mean, Jungleman doesn't lose much when he calls and he's wrong. He knows what doing.
The power of Duhamel.
That's just a sick one. That's so sick what just happened. Because, you know, if a queen
the worst
king,
card
there
in the
so
deck
many
as
cards
far as Jungleman was concerned on the river. Jungleman, he had about 1.1 million. He's losing it slowly, and there is a scenario where, yes, Jungleman could be the next one out, and the scenario would have to be that he keeps bumping heads with Duhamel. Nobody else is going to.
When we come back, we edge a step closer to finding out who from Group A will take those seats at the coveted final table. This is Group A's last league match, and it's a final chance to accumulate points on the league table. At the end of this game, only the top 3 are guaranteed a place in the final. So as the match goes on, it's important for the players to assess all of the point permutations. Let's head down to the table as Jessie May explains how the league is shaping up.
So far, we have had 2 players eliminated from this season's Premier League, Daniel Negreanu and Marvin Rettenmaier. The way the points are now standing means that the likelihood is that the next player out will be evicted from the Premier League, apart from Jonathan Duhamel, who has already locked up his place at the final.
Jonathan just opens because he opens everything as he should. Jungle calls because he's on the button with a monster top range, super slick, delish hand.
Like actual physical pain, I think.
Check, check, right? Yeah.
Jonathan's got to be careful not to play too much.
Oh, there's
poker.
a lot of cards that could come. Now Jonathan loves that. Wow. It's like, wow. If I was against ace jack or ace 10, I just caught up.
Does have a draw to the nuts. And with a draw to the nuts.
The funny thing about a call here, I think Jungle's considering a call. He's doing this for value as well. He thinks any of those cards he hits might be good. A 10, a king, jack, a 3 might be good in his mind, a 3 of diamonds.
His implied odds are off the roof. That's what I was going to say.
Here are some implied odds. Oh, my Lord.
It is not inconceivable that Duhamel wants to get all the money in. I mean,
yeah, Duhamel might even... Well, Duhamel go for a check raise?
No.
What is this? It's a value call.
He decided just to call. In his mind, Jungleman wasn't betting much except bluffs and the nuts, I guess.
Yep.
And the nuts it was.
It's funny, if you play like on the 27th level with the Wizards,
Really do it.
you're going to make correct calls with 3rd and 4th pair or something. It's like
He just does it.
everyone knows it, that Jungle
Just
does
gets like a sick value betting hand every hand he plays.
it. Sick value.
You noticed that, right, Sam?
He gets called.
Well, I mean,
He always gets a hand when like you can never have one.
yeah. Like there's loads of spots where he has like 30.
You can't have anything.
Yeah, that's like
spots
30
he gets.
hands where he has to bluff, and like 2 hands where he gets to bet for hope I get called. He always has the 2, not the 30.
I can see Jungleman's going through his mind. You guys can talk all you want. Just keep giving me the chips.
It sure is true.
You could have it there easily, the last hand.
Yeah.
We all disagree with you.
Wow. Jonathan wakes up with a hand after like raising every hand for 66 hands, pretty much, doing crazy stuff. Now he wakes up with a monster. No one better wake up with anything. They'll get punished. Let's see. Jungleman has a hand. I don't mind this card.
Oh, is he going
He's just like, I have a big stack and I want to keep playing.
Well, he is in position. And he's got board chips. And he's the Jungleman.
Yeah. And here's Trickett with a, you can kind of look at the flop. But it's so important that Sam doesn't go out. Maybe you just keep folding.
I love this format.
I would fold maybe. I don't know.
I really do.
No. Wow. He's
Oh my
going to
God,
hear
this is
from
a value. He's
Duhamel.
thinking this is a value moment. Like, well, it's a bluff. Well, what's going on? Seiver must be confused. He might actually get away from 10s. If this didn't happen, he was going to probably raise. Wow.
I don't know.
Seiver might make a big fold. Seiver might be saved. Seiver's the bottom point guy. Oh my God. What if? Oh my God. Trickett could save Seiver from being eliminated from this match. This is just insane. Seiver, a lot of people are just going to go all in with Seiver stack because it's.
And if Trickett really has it,
he has to feel.
and
like
Jungleman is going to call.
You can see Scott thinking, Duhamel might have woken up with a hand. Then I'm suicide impale. You know what I'm saying? And it is, after all, only 2 10s. Somebody could have ace king or ace queen. Oh my God, he just got saved. Look at Duhamel. He's like, how do I get it all in?
And I don't know what Trickett's going to do if Duhamel re-raises here. I mean, Trickett has every right to think that King 10 is ahead of Duhamel's range.
Right.
You know, we've seen what Duhamel is doing. He's playing every single pot. Every single pot.
It's a re-raise to torture number. We bet 71 for value, punish, torture. Like you see, because look at Sam's stack. It's 153.
And don't forget
there's zero fold equity, right? If Sam goes all in.
I just couldn't help myself.
He couldn't help himself, he says.
Scott's so tilted there was his.
Scott is sick.
He's gonna.
Sam can only laugh. Sam gambles for pots that are a $250,000 size in Macau. This is a goofy fund.
That's quite funny.
He can't really call, can he? Because he knows he can just be eliminated.
Seiver wants to vomit.
I know, and he's wrong. Oh my God, he got saved, and he doesn't even know.
The thing is, as we said before, that Trickett, if he gets knocked out here, he still has a backdoor chance of making the playoffs, depending on how Seiver does from here.
Yep.
And it might not even be backdoor, because Seiver's going to be short stacked, and he'll have to outlast Hellmuth.
It's such a bad beat for Trickett, because if he had just folded the King 10 like he'd been doing the rest of the night, Scott would have gotten whacked, and that would have been a done deal. Trickett would have moved ahead. Right? Isn't that what happens?
It would have been over.
Would have been over.
Look too strong.
And Trickett made a good lay down there.
What kind of beat?
I know it's 0%. You have no idea how much I'm praying. You just magically happened to have me beat there. Just for my own peace of mind. And then I'll just, thank Sam forever. Because, I mean, I know it's no chance. But on the somehow off chance you did, oh my God, I'll just feel so much.
I have to, man. I raised under the gun and then 4-bet.
Stop.
Just stop.
Just stop. Obviously, he's
He
not
raised
folding.
he raised with the 7 high under the gun. I smooth called it with the
I
queens.
feel like he had suited ace. You have suited ace. Then he gambled with you.
What'd you have? Oh, whatever.
10 off 6.
Yeah, I absolutely hate every single one of you with a passion.
You believe me at least.
Yeah, of course I believe. Yeah, I'm just a
That's
rock.
fair enough.
Just a rock.
Just as long as you admit you're begging for information.
And you
Rationally
heard what Duhamel said. He said, of course I had a big hand. I raised under the gun.
It's so funny. Sam Trickett wakes up with 7s.
God, that sounds strong.
4, 8. Or the blinds.
Trickett's on 151,000. He's got
I don't
20 big blinds, and he's just gone all in. And, oh boy, Hellmuth snap called with ace king, and it's a race.
Wakes up with ace king.
Down to this, buddy.
Well, I was hoping it was.
He was hoping he was dominating.
Easily could have.
Good battle, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is such a
Whoever wins this
significant
hand,
moment.
that determines who's better at this format, clearly. Because results are everything, right, Phil?
God, why don't you open for 16 and let me shove?
Yeah, that's why I didn't do that. That's why making these plays is good. Yeah,
Right? They call that asked and answered.
I'm not complaining. I wish that, but I'm not saying you did anything wrong.
They
I
said
just,
to me
Is there a
about
7?
the
Is there a 7?
Wow.
Fantastic, right?
7s is like
Just watch out for the secret 5-5.
Hellmuth's going to be under the cosh again.
It's too safe a flop.
He is going to get knocked down.
How about a 6 of spades for some
Phil, I never
drama?
rooted for you so hard in my life.
4 or a 6 of spades, maybe even a 9 of
The only
spades.
time you rooted for him even a little bit.
It's all over.
Wow, it is over.
Hellmuth's still going to have about 50,000, but that's it.
I think Phil
And he's going to have to go into super lockdown mode.
Wow.
It is never easy for Hellmuth. It was hard. They're going to make it harder. And for Sam Trickett, he is back in business, baby.
It would have been nice to win that flip. I would have been in. That would have made me.
It was a win and in situation.
It was a win and in. I'm in if I win.
That was a big flip.
That was a huge flip.
Yeah, it was.
It really was.
It was when they say huge. How much equity was in that flip for Phil Hellmuth?
I don't know.
That's what I do.
Somewhere north of 125,000, I think. You know.
Raised to 36,000. I didn't say.
I don't think he is all in.
He's not all in. He said raised to 36,000. He has 2,000 left.
Whoa, you said 36.
Cool. Might not hit the flop.
Yeah.
All in.
Correct play.
Wow,
Go all
nice
in.
snap call.
Yeah.
This is it.
Do you have an ace? I was going to say, yeah.
That one's impossible.
I had an ace.
Luck, Phil.
Thank you.
You don't mean that. Shouldn't say it.
He's actually rooting. He actually like at least 40% is rooting for me.
40%.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care either way.
Yeah.
he's just
Doesn't care.
completely,
Doesn't care.
The ace is already good, so it doesn't matter that an ace is
He
good.
actually doesn't mind if you win that
He just
flop.
wants to make some cool bluffs on TV.
All the tension left.
Just own every player. That's all he's
Which he's
here
been doing for a
Yeah,
week.
of course.
Fantastically, he's been
Win
killing
the
it.
first. That's my
Well,
plan next
he's
season.
got 3
Really
live
try to
tens.
win
Sometimes
this one.
Really show off.
Also, and let's be clear about this, if Hellmuth loses this pot, he is not out of the Premier League automatically.
Correct. There are still
Scott Seiver still has work
yes.
to do.
10 in the door. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. We might not be seeing
Nice hand,
Hellmuth.
Jonathan.
He has to get an ace. And remember, there's not many aces left.
Serious stuff.
There's only 2 aces left in the deck because Antonio folded to ace 5. With
And
2 aces
Phil
to
Hellmuth,
go.
13 bracelets, but no Premier League titles.
Nice hand, brother. Good game, man.
Sorry.
And Phil Hellmuth is going to have 21 points. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. He can still get through.
If you go up next, you're behind Phil.
Wow, that cost me the Premier League.
Pretty much exact same.
I think I'm out, right?
No, you have a chance. It's tough, but there's permutations for sure.
Everybody right now is guaranteed to be in the top 5 except for Scott Seiver. The only other permutation of the top 5 besides these is that Phil Hellmuth can still get in if Scott Seiver goes out next.
I have like there's a real long shot that I can make the heads up. It's like a real long shot. And so it's unfortunate that, it's unfortunate that I'm depending on someone else to go out. I think it was going to be very hard to eliminate me because I think that I have more patience than some of the other players. I think they want to get themselves in trouble. But they dealt me ace-king. Nothing I could do.
Join us after the break as the 5 remaining players continue to duke it out for a seat at the final table here at the Party Poker Premier League. Welcome back to Asper's Casino in Westfield, Stratford City. This is what they are playing for, the Premier League trophy. And we are very close to finding out which 3 players from Group A will automatically qualify for a seat at the final. Before the break, Phil Hellmuth was sent to the rail, and he now has to wait to see if he qualifies for the playoffs. If Scott Seiver outlasts just 1 player, Hellmuth will be eliminated from this season's Premier League. Hellmuth on the rail tries to talk to the players left at the table about the point permutation, aggravating Scott Seiver in the front.
Seriously.
You outlast
Floor?
It doesn't matter. I can talk to Phil anyway.
Yeah, sure, but still, I mean, like, I need the rail cleared.
You're in the final 3. If Trickett outlasts you, he's in the final 3.
Saying stupid stuff. Who cares?
I got that.
It's just the Premier League. It's all about scenarios. Of course you have to tell people where they stand. That's just part of the game. Every Premier League I've ever played, we've done that. It's normal.
thrilled to have with us, but disappointed to welcome Phil Hellmuth to the booth. Phil, first of all,
You're like 230.
I mean, just well played in this Premier League this year, and you just have been the spirit and the class of it. Have you had fun up until about 10 minutes ago?
Ironically, this could be the best Premier League I've ever played, and I'm out. Looks like I'm not out yet. I'm not out yet. Excuse me.
And if Scott Seiver is the next player out, you are in the playoffs.
You know, it's interesting. Seiver, like he did you hear him out there? That was good drama. He came out and he said Phil's not allowed to talk to any of the players from the rail. Come on, this is the Premier League. We've done that
of course.
all 5 Premier Leagues.
Look at this funny thing.
I think Seiver has to fold every hand, don't you? I mean, can't Duhamel just set them all in?
He's gonna call. He's calling with impunity. He's calling like 100%.
Shouldn't Duhamel just go all in here?
I don't know. Maybe. Let's see.
Yes, he should.
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
What kind of hands does a guy like Seiver limp with or raise small with?
He's supposed to only have aces here, right, Phil?
I mean,
I think he's supposed to call. I like calling because there's a lot more ways to win. You can win the pot later when you're not supposed to.
you're talking about Seiver's hand.
Oh, so sorry, Seiver's just limped.
Look at this, and Jungleman has an ace and checked. Wow, I don't like that.
Seiver can't afford to do anything. He's handcuffed beyond measure.
Right, but I mean, when the guy that can't play a pot limps in, and you know he can't be out next.
Oh, right. Yeah. But you still got to get through.
Duhamel has done this a couple times, though. He said, well, I don't have to raise pre-flop because, you know, it can look much more dangerous later on in the hand when there's more money in.
And Scott's going to call here.
He's trying to get chips. He doesn't
but
care
how
about
far
the
is he going to call? Is he going to put his Premier League on the line?
He won't.
On
he
second
will not.
pair?
He might be so advanced that that's terrible for. That's the worst card. He could have continued with a lot of cards, but a spade and an
Duhamel
ace.
is going to fire here.
Duhamel's 100%.
He checked it. Wow, that's interesting.
He thinks that he has to have a monster, right? My opponent has to have a monster. That's why he checked.
Duhamel might do one of those I'm all in moves that he's done a couple times, right?
Duhamel's in
he gave
preservation
up.
mode. Wow.
Wow.
Seiver wins it.
Do you think Duhamel's not aware of the dynamics, or did he just feel like that ace had to improve Seiver's hand, that he had to actually be quite strong to even limp in the first place?
In fact, look at the face. I think Duhamel was confused why he even played the King Jack like that in the whole thing.
Way too late.
So sorry.
It'll be sick if I somehow make the finals, having never had a double stack in any heat.
Seiver's right about that.
I've never gone into 600 in any heat.
So you got a second place. If you didn't hit that king on
Yeah,
the river,
I never got to 600.
Do you know if you didn't hit that king on the river, would you dead?
Oh yeah, I was just dead.
Yesterday, you mean?
Yeah. Against you.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I was just dead. Still could be. Hope not.
Like torture. There's been torture for you, hasn't it? Like just
absolutely.
hanging in there, like grinding.
It's honestly nerve-wracking. It's it's actual pressure.
When I'm all in here, I'm like a bit nervous. And I've been all in the one drop. And I was
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
I played like 1K, 2K no limit with a straddle where I just have like an outrageous percent of myself in like insane games like this, and I'm actually more nervous like sweating points here. I don't know why.
Duhamel is open here for 16, and Antonio's moved all in, and Duhamel's got ace-9.
It's like 210.
The thing, though, Phil, is that doesn't he benefit by these dynamics? I mean, doesn't he have a lot of reasons to try and pick up loose chips?
He's looking at the points. Do the math, somebody, for me. How much more does it cost, and how big is the pot? Pot's 252.
Well, I mean, Esfandiari has moved in for
21
$1 million,
for 25.
basically. He's just moved in for everything. It's he's only getting just over even money. I mean,
I think you have to fold.
This is a huge pot for me. Fold. I mean, I need Duhamel to just fold here. Duhamel to fold.
Well, you also benefit if Duhamel calls and Esfandiari doubles. I mean, I think that's actually...
No.
No?
Maybe. Maybe, that's right.
I mean, yeah, that's...
No way I can fold that.
I mean, Phil, if he calls, your Premier League is going to be on the line. But if Esfandiari holds, your chances dramatically increase.
Yeah, but if Esfandiari gets called, he's, a 2-to-1 underdog, he's probably going to go out. And then I'm out. So, I need Duhamel to fold, and
I think Duhamel's going to fold.
All right, I call.
He called.
This is it. This is it for Antonio Esfandiari, and this is it for Phil Hellmuth.
I'm in the booth sweating my own potential.
People's lives are at stake.
This could be the first time someone has gotten knocked out of the Premier League from the commentary box.
It might be the first time. It might be the first time. Wow, a death from the commentary box. You might watch your death right here, Phil. I'm going to watch Phil. Phil's like really silent. He's sweating it like ever. Look at Phil.
No, this is my own. I'm watching my own potential. I'm watching.
Phil, most people don't get to visit their own.
I'm watching my own potential demise, and there it is. Oh my God!
Ever beat Duhamel?
Nice playing, guys.
Oh, wait a minute! Wait a minute!
Life.
Oh my God, life.
It's not really my style, you know.
Well, he still has 7 outs, though. He's 16% from completely dead back to 16%.
Oh, he's trying to move away big. They all know it. If you get away from the table, the chance you get it go up 2% or so. He's done a good job at coaching it. He's getting the 2%. No, he didn't get it.
Phil's out. Seiver's in. Esfandiari likely to go to the playoffs.
Wow.
I still have to beat him head up now.
One more match.
Yeah. I still have to beat him head up.
There's Group A as it stands. Hellmuth on 21 points, Esfandiari on 23. Seiver now guaranteed to have at least 21. The race now is spots to see who goes in the playoffs and who goes in the top 3.
I had to outlast Sam Trickett. He was on my left and he had about 100K more than me. And so, you know, I took a stand against Duhamel at the wrong time, obviously. But, you know, obviously he's raising every hand. So King 5 of clubs actually looks okay. And even if he calls, I'm very live. So I needed to win that hand, and I didn't.
Been over you, I was like, please find it soon.
Yeah,
exactly. Because he's just going to chat you. It's paining me watching you raise the button.
I won't be raising that many though. I knew you would shove light, so I was.
Yeah.
The other one,
like the ace 3, you had to fold.
Yeah.
Just because it's not good enough on both
But, I mean,
ways.
that was a decent
but ace 9
hand
is
to raise.
just way too good.
Yeah.
Jonathan Duhamel is guaranteed to be in, and Antonio Esfandiari is guaranteed to be in the playoffs.
Heads up. He might.
The question is who he's going to play, and for Seiver, I think he has to blast ahead now and try and get a top 2 spot.
I'm trying to find. It's there
It's
one
a top
variation
2 spot
20?
that Seiver needs.
22.
And it still might not be guaranteed because it depends who he's top 2 with, I think.
Yeah, if somebody else goes out, then Seiver goes out, then you'd have to ask who had more first place winners, because that 23 would get there. You know, Seiver wins 8 points, that's 23. Matching Esfandiari. Who's had more first places? Antonio, so he would win the tiebreaker. Oh, wow.
No, I think you're thinking about it wrong, because that'd be a tiebreaker in 4th and 5th, which there isn't. It's that if Seiver gets 2nd and Jungleman got 3rd, they'd be tied on 27 points.
I just got out of line hand 1. I'm just like, oh man, I can play anything. Can play anything now.
You know, it's disappointing, boys, to be out, especially after that first hand where I hit 540,000 I was up to.
God.
Oh, a lot of heart.
It just felt like, but you know, it's interesting, at that point, it might be, I didn't have to play the King-Jack against Jungleman, because if I don't get involved there, I'm still in a great position, and I can wait for others to go down. But I played poker on that hand. I felt like I had him beat, and I'm proud of the way I played it, and I gave myself a chance to win, but it might not have been the optimal Premier League strategy.
I mean, it really is the balance, isn't it, Phil? And it really came into play here. When do you play poker, and when do you just sit on your hands?
I mean, I was waiting for Jungleman for 4 days. I mean, he was my spot. He was the one I was going to get, and I finally got him, and he runnered me. I mean, but he's, you know, and he had, you know, I mean, he picked up some good hands against me, right?
It's actually like a huge mistake that happens all the time in these spots. Like, you get so excited, you just play everything.
He's picked up some huge hands. Trickett just flatted with the ace-king, and I guess it's because Trickett knows that he's kind of free-rolling if one of these other guys busts first.
Yep.
Check.
They might want to take a shot against him.
He's checking for value, Jungle. Wants to get to the river. Got to the river.
Check.
Ace high.
Nines will take it for Scott Seiver, who is...
wow, and this is interesting. Trickett's able to toss that hand away and not show anyone that he just, how tight he played the ace-king of hearts. That's really wise.
I mean, it is quite amazing how Scott Seiver has wiggled his way to this position. He has been, he has really been under the cosh the whole time. He's, his temper has flared several times in this Premier League. He's appeared uncomfortable. He's appeared unsure. He's appeared ill-equipped. And yet, look at that smile. Here he is.
2,000 ante.
Okay, 12. Everyone,
And
1,000
then
more.
another extra 1,000 from everyone, please. Thank you.
I mean, essentially, Phil, when you consider that yesterday in the third heat, you were down to about 6 big blinds at one stage, and you were going to be in a position where you were eliminated before even coming in, essentially, to this heat.
Well, not really, because I had 10 points from the first 2 days, but I would have needed a first, I think, to get in. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. Also, he signaled he had a made hand.
24,000.
He went all in to say, hey man, I got a made hand. And Phil, yeah, please don't call. It's bad for both of us. And he just ignored it. Unbelievable.
He's probably just going to go without any
That's what you get.
resistance.
He's
Oh, wait a minute.
from
Trickett wakes up with
enough.
force. What's Trickett's play? It costs 24. He has how much? Trickett has 300.
Cheers.
I think it's a good fold. It's survival time.
I mean, Trickett is...
You like that fold if he had 2 4s? I hate that fold. And so I'm surprised Sam did it, because for 12K more, you could hit a set and win a lot of money, right?
12.
It was a min raise, right?
Call, look, fold if you don't hit a set. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially while
You would have
you're-
100% called 12K, right?
Yeah, I'm calling with... I was
Any
surprised with... yeah.
Right, and essentially all Trickett has to do to get into the top 3 is bust Seiver. But he doesn't have to bust Seiver because one of the others can bust Seiver. And in fact, Sam Trickett gets in not only if Seiver busts in 4th, but he gets in if Seiver busts in 3rd.
Yeah, it's a definitely points thing.
And
I would, by the way, with that pocket 4s, I would go through all the points thing and take some time. I don't know, because I keep having to refigure this stuff out. Like, okay, what's Jungle's thing? He can't lose, right? Because he has a gajillion chips.
That's not...
But I'm kidding. I'm just saying in gross arcs, like, these guys have to fold everything. Doesn't Scott have to fold this? What? What is Scott doing? Did Scott just say he's all in?
Maybe 280.
Yeah.
Because he
What is
has
he doing?
to blast.
But how can he blast against an 870 stack?
Okay.
Wow, I'm
What is going
surprised
on?
he did that.
And you see, right now, Sam Trickett is very interested because if Seiver busts, Trickett's in.
But this was uncharacteristic. This was, I think, a mistake. He's been folding all these. He was folding these all before, wasn't he?
What amount could I have said where you would not have called? If I said I have you covered, what if I said I got you covered? You'd be like, okay, call.
Are you saying Seiver did the right thing because of his spot? Because
I don't know. I mean, he's very clever about this.
It's very
You
close.
know, he's not
It's
trying
very,
to last anymore.
let's not say it was a horrible play. Jungleman raises a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Seiver does need to finish first or second. So
yeah,
I mean, I think his play's fine.
And there are some combinations of him coming second where he doesn't even make it. You know, it's
Good luck, guys.
But it's going to be quick from here, and Scott Seiver is going to be in the playoffs against Antonio Esfandiari. What an amazing, amazing heat. And the 3 players who are left at this table, these are the 3 players who are going to be going through to the final table for sure.
It was a very complicated heat, a lot of action, a lot of passion at the table, and I did what I needed to do to hopefully get one step further, and now I'll be playing head up for the last spot in the final.
Join us for the conclusion of Group A's final heat after the break. Group A's last league match continues here in London. 3 players are left in this heat, and the trio are guaranteed a seat at the final table. But who will take through the biggest chip stack? Let's head back to your commentary team, led by Jesse May.
So you do have to say that great poker is on display, and there's something for that.
Absolutely. No, I mean, there's plenty of skill in the Premier League.
It's been 4 hard heats, and it's time to celebrate. They're playing for a little bit. They're playing for chips at the final table and a couple thousand in cash. but compared to what they were playing for before, it feels like nothing.
You know, it's very interesting too. I think a lot of people in my heat, in the first 2 heats of mine, and maybe even the third, they were not playing the right strategy for this format. And look at this, what a cooler for Trickett.
Wow.
He has a straight flush draw against a royal flush draw.
Wow, super cooler.
Amazing. And he's just so going to just get the money in here, right?
Yep. I think he has to jam it because he doesn't want, like, he wants value hands to fold like King 10 and stuff.
Wow.
What's he doing?
He just plays good all the
How
time.
much does he have enough to just call? It's really weird. Maybe he does. I'm very curious about what's the right thing.
Check.
No, this is interesting. You might want to take the free card. Yeah, feels like a free card for that spot right there.
Give it to us.
Oh my
Lord.
God.
Oh my Lord, he would have got there no matter what.
Are you kidding
But he would have
me?
won more if he had made my play. Wow, the second nuts. What would you have done, Phil? I would have jammed it.
I think I have to jam there. I mean,
just
you're the
feels so
short
strong.
stack. You're the short stack with a straight flush draw, and you need a double up.
Pair
I
of
mean,
sevens is beating you right now. Why not
he
just
only
get
had
the sevens up?
He only had 250,000, Phil. I
And
mean,
he's already
against
way
8.
up there in points. What happens if he goes out next? He gets 8 points. 8 plus 19 is 27. He's way up there, sky
But the
high.
chances also of Jungleman and Duhamel playing a big pot with these huge chips, that might not happen for an hour or two.
Wow. Yeah, that was his highest EV spot that he's going to have in a while. Wow, 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 that's sick. He could have had so much more, but he would have got it in wrong. Oh, my God, Jesse.
Very interesting hand.
You know, all 3 of these guys who are left, one thing that did set them apart is that all 3 of them kind of came in, he's mentioned playing maybe the incorrect in the first heat. They all did kind of play a boom or bust style of play from early on. Jungleman went out second, you know, in this heat. Trickett was nearly out first in his first heat. Duhamel went wire to wire.
Ran so good to be caught.
Duhamel never really was in a lot of trouble, but a lot of people in the heat got themselves in trouble really for no reason when it's just the dead wrong thing to do. So, yeah, there was a lot of bad play in the first couple of heats, in my opinion. They just didn't play by the format the right way, the points the right way. But I think as time progressed, I think their friends were calling them and saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then now by this 4th heat, I think pretty much everybody played a good mathematical point strategy.
It's been amazing. And you're out on the tiebreaker, which is amazing too.
I am?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you and Scott both have 21 points exactly, but you're out on the tiebreaker.
Yeah, 1 point's huge in this league, and I just proved it again.
It's amazing.
The last Premier League I played in, it came down to me versus Daniel to
for
go to
1
the
point
finals.
as well.
Oh my God.
You know, which is why, Phil, that 1 point you may have possibly given up with those
It's
the
gonna
4
cost me.
chips you
Yeah,
had left.
It's
I
going to
mean,
be a blunder of epic proportions. I love how it works.
They
Wow.
tanked forever.
And we calculated it was wrong by about
I
2%.
feel like you've got something so hard. I'm just making the nittiest fold of all time because it took so long to check
Scott's
through.
smiling now.
Yeah. Do you have a big hand?
Not that big.
Apparently, it's all right to be on the rail now.
I just made the nittiest fold of ever just because they had banked for so long on
Oh, so you thought they were doing
and I'm like, thought there was like some of
Yeah, I don't know actually if it changes something.
You know, I have to say, Phil, forget about all the poker, the banter. You know, this Group A, the 8 of you, I know there's been arguments, discussions, but it seems like everyone has had fun because you guys don't all get together and play at the same table. When's the last time it happened? Something like that. You, Daniel, Antonio.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we all have a lot of respect for the way each of us plays the game. We have respect for each other off the table as well. So I think that, you know, the banter is just something, you know, and I went for it this year more than ever. I used to come in here and be shocked everybody would giving me a hassle because you can play 6 weeks of the series and I don't receive any hassle from anybody.
But these guys all know Phil personally, and
well, no, you might just be with one of them,
right?
But even at the series, I mean, I have my headphones on, and I really can't even hear them. And so, and if somebody, so I'm used to coming in here year after year not hearing all that, and so I thought, wow, this is going to be a fun opportunity, and they're going to come at me. I might as well come back at them. So there was some fun involved, you know.
Yeah, and the banter is interesting to watch because the players at home have storylines on these players that they've known for a lot.
Well, you just learn so much more about your personalities. You know, when you guys get together, you start talking about poker. I mean, it's just, you know.
And nightclubs.
Yeah. Well, right. And
Me.
Daniel slapping
guys,
you.
I don't do it at night. Trust me, I'm a junkie here in the booth. I never talk poker. Antonio and I, in fact, never talk poker.
Probably shouldn't have said anything. It could have been like the sickest tell ever.
What? Oh, this, yeah. Well, we
It was
talked
so
about that,
dumb.
I think, on the
It was
second
so
heat,
dumb to say something.
Yeah. We talked about that like on the second.
But I kind of felt like I had to tell him because it was like wrong. I don't even know if it was true, but like.
I don't know. It might be, might not.
Imagine
be.
if I kept it myself and then looked back and it was true, I'd be, oh.
Yeah.
It's almost like cheating.
Yeah, you're right.
So I had to say something.
Pass.
Maybe cost me chips.
36,000.
Guy dropped his walkie-talkie or something. That was it.
He's tried to make it large enough so that the Jungleman can't call light, but good luck.
The sick thing is Duhamel might be raising. I mean, if he had Jack-9, he would probably be rooting for Jungleman to just call. Because he might flop top pair and get him, you know?
Yep. This is funny. Trickett loves this, by the way. 2 stacks going at it. What if something happens, you know?
It's 44,000.
My guess, Phil, is that you haven't played much with Jonathan Duhamel before this week. What are your thoughts? Is he a player?
He is.
Most,
I mean, he.
Yeah. Most. What's it called? Most certainly.
Sorry, the first Phil as well. Because you've been in Group B. You haven't played him. You just watched him.
I've watched him, and it's really interesting lines he's taken. And wow,
You know,
it's like wow.
To answer your question about Duhamel, I feel like you know, there's people that have played a lot of sit and goes. Think of this as an 8-player sit and go, and so we have players that come into the league that aren't that well known. I'm not saying Duhamel's not one, but there's just a very solid player that's played a lot of sit and goes, and then their strategy is a little bit closer to what a standard sit and go strategy is, and so really no one enters the league that's terrible at the strategy. And we've seen just a few people that have really kind of played poor strategy, and maybe they made it through anyway.
Maybe call 6. I mean, I don't fold on non-4s. Then it's just calling like almost every river except that one.
Yeah, it was a good river to bluff.
I don't think I agree, actually. It's work.
He's going to call Jungle's calling here. I love Jungle.
He didn't stop and study.
Everything. No, but he calls everything. Of course, he's calling 8-3 hearts. That's a cash game call in a lot of spots. Well, let's see what the flop is. Bump.
Check.
2 people connect.
Check.
1 person
Check.
out. The Jack Queen is not interested really. Everyone taking their free cards that have equity. And wow, look at this. Jungle's a genius. I'm gonna start defending more. Jungle is a genius. Look at this. He's probably too strong to bet. And he checked. How brilliant. He was too strong to bet, so he checked. Now he's gonna get the hang juice. Well, I think he's still too big to raise. This is just let your guy hang himself. Because, you know, flushes aren't in the range as much as all these other hands. King, air, 4-6, whatever. 4-6, not really. 7. Well, he knows he has the best hand. I think he just check and hope the king bets. What do you think, Phil-Hellmuth? Does jungle checks? Well, now obviously you just give up with the Jack 4, I think. Yeah. But did Jungle do the right thing by checking the river? I guess. Feels like it. Trips. You know, you just check, right? Because you're just too strong and you're against it. Yeah.
It's Jungleman, too. He's not really an easy guy to bluff. But that's a dynamic. So I was never going to try to bluff Jungleman and try to give him a chance to hang himself against me. That was my strategy against him.
I mean, you know, there was a Jungleman in the very first heat, as you remember. He made a huge stack, and then he lost it calling a river bet from Jonathan Duhamel, which was a massive bet. Now, no matter what he said about the hand, you know, that it's a positive call and didn't make sense and this and that.
World's easiest to lay down that hand. That's what it boils down to.
Because he had such a big stack. I mean, number 1 and then everything else.
I mean, the board is 4-4 deuce deuce ace in that hand, and yeah, he had a huge flop. He gets it on the flop fine. He had the ace jack with the nut flush draw.
Correct.
But now a deuce deuce 4-4 hits, and someone raises you big. You have ace jack. You can only beat a stone cold bluff there.
Correct. So like sick. By the way, the blinds right now are 104 for the jungle, 75 blinds for Jonathan Duhamel, and Trickett sitting on 20 big blinds. And now we have a hand happening.
16,000.
Are you sure?
I just did it out.
You don't need a calculator for 12,000 or 240,000, do you? Phil, you've got like a 412 IQ.
Well,
put the calculator away.
I can't. I love the calculator because it's backup for my brain. My brain wouldn't be meltdown a long time ago if I don't have backup.
These boards keep running out bad. It's so annoying. Run out so bad. Sevens run out okay, but we'll stick to getting it in pre-flop.
Jungle, you have some tea over there.
Tea? Come on, think.
2 more.
They were getting red wine.
2 more.
Never mind.
Oh, yeah,
We've got Hellmuth here because I want to know about him and Negreanu because I think that everybody wants to hear that.
We started that, but then Phil interrupted us.
I'm sorry, that was
He
bad.
wanted to tell us how he couldn't multiply 8 times 7.
That's true. I couldn't do it without pencil and backup.
I'm sure the viewers were thrilled with that.
I want to know the first time you ever have a memory of Daniel Negreanu. Is it in a tournament? Is it in Las Vegas? Is it somewhere else?
I mean, D-Negs and I have been battling for many years, and you know, I mean, he's been around forever, and he just has a tremendous amount of heart and a tremendous amount of skill, and he's not exactly, you know, easy to play against. So again, I was saying earlier about him bluffing me. It's sometimes I expected him not to bluff me. At the $1 million one drop, Daniel played like a megalomaniac.
I saw that
me.
on the TV thing. He made was it a wheel he made on you or something like that?
He kept
he check raised you on the flop, made a straight by the river.
Yeah, like maybe in a 3-4-10 board, maybe I had like queen 10 and he check raised me with ace deuce. But he really came after me hard in the one drop, and he beat me for, I went down $1 million in chips at some point in that, but I just kept thinking, okay, that's fine. If you're going to play that fast against me, I'm going to get you.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. And
But there had to be a time when he first came on the scene. Were you a world champion and he was just a kid, or was he on the scene soon after you?
I mean, he basically came around, and yeah, by then I'd already probably won 5 or 6 bracelets or something. I mean, he came in 98-ish, 99, right around then, and you know, and he brought some swagger from Canada, and pretty much everybody on tour immediately liked him. I mean, he seemed to get along pretty well, and you know, in the 90s, and yeah, I have a lot of respect for Daniel and his play. And so, you know, he made a good bluff against me. I give him credit for that. And but then I was, you know, I didn't even study him. I was disappointed. I didn't even look. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, he has to have an ace to raise, and I mucked it. But I was ready for him the next 2 heats. I was ready to study him and pick up whatever I could pick up. But he and I have been battling for years, Jesse, and oftentimes when we're at the table, we both do well.
Call.
Yeah, I think, actually, if I'm not mistaken, in the 2000 and it must have been 2001, Carlos Mortensen, or was that 2000? You were at that final table, and I think Negreanu was eliminated just off it.
Here's an interesting hand here where Trickett has 2 8s and Jungleman defended with a 7. He might get himself in trouble here.
Call.
Yeah,
no, I
it's
think
much
Trickett,
easier for Sam to continue when he has really not as much to lose as before.
I think Trickett knows he has the best hand right now. The 9, he might not love that 9, but he knew he had the best hand on the flop when it came 10-7 deuce. He thinks a lot like I do in these things, and so we've had some fun conversations at the clubs or whatever. And you know, and so I kind of I respect someone that has a you always probably respect someone that has a similar philosophy, but also he's had a lot of results.
Can Jungle bluff it like with a huge bet?
Jungle doesn't have to bluff. He might value bet his hand the way he plays.
Right.
I mean, he might just bet 30.
He might check because he thinks his hand might just be good enough.
They're nuts.
Yeah, I couldn't believe you checked that.
Wow, did you just hear that?
What did you say?
That's been happening a lot to me, getting cooler in these pots. Got 4 million chips. I've got like the smallest pot.
I just thought I was going to win.
That was definitely not great etiquette to say that. I agree.
Right, you set yourself up for a negative free roll and the guy shows you a pair of super low pair of deuces or something.
You've won every big pot. You backdoored. Yeah, Jack 4-4. You outdraw King Jack with 8 high.
Won every pot, okay?
Yeah, that's why you're so good. You're competitive. It's just funny.
Welcome back to London for Premier League Poker 6 here at Asper's Casino for this 4th and final Group A League match.
Need more apple juice.
Thought it was tea.
The way things are going, which of these 3 do you think is going to do the best at the final table? Obviously, we know Duhamel's going to have the most chips, but there's not going to be that much in it. Right.
Wait,
Jungleman's playing a completely different game.
Yeah,
he limped.
Oh, wow. Is that 3 9s that I just see come on?
Yes, for Duhamel, yep.
Oh, my Lord.
26,000.
This is like redunculous. I think he's going to lose. It's hard to say. About 450.
Now that he's raising it, he could lose 450 or more.
60,000.
Don't get out of line there. Trickett. It would be the wrong time. Wow, Duhamel.
Has he already been deceptive by leading out here?
Yeah.
It was a very deceptive
How do you get the max out of 3 9s? There's a draw there, so it would be fair to raise. You could rep the draw. I don't know.
Well, and also make the draw pay, right?
Yeah, make the draw pay. It could beat you.
Yeah, it's just...
Make kings and ace-queen pay. How can they fold?
Right.
Air might just shut down anyways. These guys never do what I want in these weird spots, but I would raise. I don't know. But these guys always do something different, so let's see.
I wouldn't be surprised if he raises, but if he just calls, he sets himself up to win a big pot if non-heart hits.
Yep. He rarely pulls out that many greens without flowing through with his... So consistent. Other guys can do this, but not Duhamel. When he pulls out the chips, they're going in.
Raise.
A re-raise. Now, this would be interesting if Jungleman could have been brilliant enough to say, I'm going to raise and get clean information. If my opponent re-raises, could I be beat? But it's so hard. He has to have kings or a 9. I mean, but he could have a 9. Jungle is the wizard, but he looks like he's not.
The wizard? I mean.
I feel like Jungleman's the kind of guy who if he says, I don't expect him to lead here with 3 9s, then from that point on, he's happy to put his stack in, if you know what I mean. He's not a reevaluator in the same way.
This is sick because it was, you know, relative to the pot, it wasn't that much more, right?
Well, considering that's an interesting point, Phil. Like when you start with 42,000 in the pot and it comes 9-9 queen, how much money do you want to put in with the queen? Once you're getting to triple pot size, you're starting to think, you know, my queen's probably not good.
He might get saved with a heart if a heart comes.
Exactly, a king, an 8, or a heart might save him some cheese.
Let's see what comes. Oh my God! Duhamel now has to go into what does he have mode? Does he have a queen? Wow.
You didn't even think about that.
This is sick. No one even
You
thought
guys
about
are
it.
just sitting
The
there
jungle's blessed.
shaking your head.
This is sick.
How many times has he hit hands like this, Phil? Because I haven't, you know, you've been in the commentary.
A lot. You felt one of them. They come at huge. He does it for huge hands. He doesn't do it in these plunkishly small pots.
Let's get it all in with 2 outs and smash my 2-outer. Or in my case, let's get it all in almost dead and hit runner.
Yeah, there was also a huge
Look at this. He
hand
bets
where
so small.
He made a
316.
backdoor flush against Trickett's backdoor flush.
And he got, 90. He bets 90 into 316. So this is just an extraction bet. Wow, Jonathan. Can
Pretty
you just
tough for
find the fold
Duhamel
button?
for Jonathan to fold here.
So tough. So tough. The only way he can fold is if he says that's a 2-outer that caught up. But it's reasonable that the sick one might have had a queen.
It's
but
pretty easy for Duhamel to call here and fold on the river. Because, I mean, Jungleman could have a 9, could have him tied, right?
He's the best.
Wow, what a fold.
How
now I give him.
strong.
Now
He's
that
the
was a
best.
strong fold.
He's the best player. Jonathan is the best.
I
love how that guy plays. Oh my God.
Whether or not he is the best, I think of these 3 over the last 4 heats, he's played the best. I mean, and maybe the cards have cooperated in such a way, but he's made some moves. And I'm sure you remember this, Phil, when Duhamel, I think he 4-bet Antonio Esfandiari, and it was just sending a message there. It was Jack 9 versus King 3 or something like that.
Yep.
And he seemed to, his timing was just very good in this Premier League.
You guys have a different perspective than I do. Like I
We've
can't.
seen so many flow pattern things. Yeah.
Right, but I can watch someone play for 4 days, and I can also see the luck involved and the non-luck and the timing, and you know, I mean, so much of it's timing, right? You might. I'm not saying. You might have. Let's say that you might have. Maybe. Let's just say that Daniel played the best or the second best. I'm not saying that's the case, but he's out, and so then what? He's just. You know. I mean.
Yeah.
Phil has a way of saying, you know, someone's the best, or they're the best ever, or.
Both people have a hand here. This is a lot of value for night. Jungle can never fold this. I mean, he has runner flush draw. This is why you call with 9-2 of hearts, by the way. This is what's the problem too, because when a guy is a king.
I mean, it's always subjective, who's played the best and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, if there's consensus among the 8 of you sitting at the table, to me, that's a pretty strong feeling, a strong idea.
Because a jack is now a straight.
Wow,
there's the 9-2
It was
hearts.
always coming. I mean, what's the wow? He's gotten there like 6 times in a row, hasn't he? I mean, I like to love the Jungleman, but
he checked and Trickett's going to a value. I guess he just goes all in, right? Because
God, it's so sick. I can't. Is this what Jungleman did the whole time? He's the one, because he plays so many hands. He's so far out there. He's so crazy that when he does get there, if it's hand over hand, you have to pay him off.
I mean, you have to be afraid of 10-5 of spades, 2-5, all these weird junk hands. I think that Sam Trickett just knows jungle. I mean, I think Sam's going to fold. It's very hard, though, because the guy does everything all the time. Bluffs, blah, blah, blah. But that's why I would just check the river and see if I'm good. I don't know. What, are you going to get a 10 to call? What are you getting to call? Do you know
he has to bet. He has to bet the river, Phil. I disagree with you, because he checked the turn.
Yeah.
I might have just made a big bet on the. If I had a Trickett's hand, I may have just made a big bet on the
turn.
Yeah, because kings look like the best hand. Jungleman would have called and busted him.
He played it to get, value. But
he played it to get value. Has to bet the river here.
I don't know.
He's going to say.
I just checked that.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what he said. Deuce 4 of hearts. He just said it.
Queen 10 or 2-4 of hearts.
Yep, or 2-9 of hearts.
I thought you were so weak.
I played so tight.
You've got a 2 in your hand.
I would have.
He is pretty good. That's a good call.
He's calling it, yeah.
Not a good call, but a good read.
A good read,
you had a 2 in your hand because you side-called pre-flop. So sick. Yeah, so I know you've got a 2 in your hand. 2-4 of hearts only.
Sam's definitely going to wonder if he should have maybe checked the river, but it's he
that
had
was
so
pretty
little chips.
psychic.
That was psychic.
You have to be a little.
Lost a 2-4 of hearts.
He knew it was a 2 in his hand. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
But for
Trick
Sam Trickett, the Premier League has been okay, and it's not over yet. He's been up and down. He is definitely going to be going to the final table, finishing on 27 points.
I ran about as well as I could have done. Yeah, I ran really good. The fact that I just got no hands, I got really card dead, so I was never really tempted in any situations, and kind of just played itself, the heat. You know, I mean, if things went well for me, people lost the flips that I needed to, and then obviously I won that key flip with sevens versus ace king, and then obviously the last hand I just busted. Never really going to make a big fold in a three-handed game. We've got nothing to play for, so yeah, Daniel's been running good on them weird scenarios post-flop, turns and rivers, you know.
Both these players will be at the final table, but with how many chips and how many points? That's what we're playing for right now, and they've gotten here in different ways. Daniel Jungleman Cates, volatile, bluffy, all over the board, and Duhamel, he has just consolidated his domination, Phil Laak.
It's so sick. It's so sick. They have so many big blinds, 56 big blinds to like 100 and like whatever it is.
And I mean, the stats through this heat are so distorted because Duhamel basically has been playing so many hands.
God, those stats were lopsided.
By the way, if you remember, Phil, the last heads up they played, Jungleman also 3-bet the very first hand. I just have this feeling that he has this thing about 3-betting it sends a message, you know what I mean? So there was a 3-bet by the Jungleman, a raise from Duhamel, a 3-bet by the Jungleman, and here's the flop.
Wow.
And if you are going to play the deuce 4, this is certainly one of the better flops, right?
Daniel raised with 2-4, Jungle re-raise. Cool. Look at this. It's a huge flop for a straight draw. He just lets it go. Whew. That was crazy.
Okay. I'm shuffling the cards.
Jungle on the break, and really throughout the Premier League, and you've seen it, he takes a lot of criticism for some of his plays.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think his poker is par exceptional, but he's missed some of the points kind of things that are happening.
This is like my second one that I feel like.
Jeez, drink up, man.
I'm already
Giving you an edge right now. Come on, drink more.
One more.
I was like, couldn't even count like what a raise was there.
Should have some shots. Which shots do you want?
Drunk poker. I'll have Jaeger.
I hate Jaeger, but
Really?
I have one just for you.
All right, cool.
Yeah? Can you have John over here? I hate Jaeger.
Can we have
Fuck.
John here, please?
I used to like it.
Or a waitress. Raise to 40 from seat 7. C2 call. C2 check.
Wow, this is kind of like hand versus hand for sure. Jungle hits his bottom pair because that's what he does with deuce 7 when it connects. And now Duhamel has like runner flush draw, overcard, potential overcard, straight draw. This is going to be a bet call the way that he's like, I can't even get my chips in the pot. Ace.
To check.
I think a second barrel will win this. I mean, right? Doesn't it have to?
Well, not necessarily, because
is how much of the time is Duhamel afraid of an ace something or a thin call with a jack? I don't know. Feels like you got a barrel here.
7 back.
Knowing how wide Jungle's calling.
68, sorry. 68.
I mean, Jungle could say, I'm just going to raise because you probably just have an ace. You know, he could do that. But no, he's like.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, in Jungleman's mind, he does seem to have a good read on Duhamel. In his mind, there's still value here. I mean, he is winning.
Oh.
To check,
King
7
R.
check.
I have pair
showdown.
too. Wow.
Jungle, you're sick.
Duhamel's like, really?
Gives up there.
Really?
He figures the ace is just like, okay, my opponent, any pair he has is going to call. The ace is good for him. You know? Jungle.
Too good.
You double bottomed me? It went call with bottom pair?
Call. Say, I play jungle style.
Yeah, he plays jungle style. Both these guys, there is a little bit of a happy factor. They know they're going to be at the final table. They know they're going to profit in this Premier League. And they know that there's a lot of people who want to be where they are right now.
I think Jungle either did a...
Yeah.
What happened?
You called?
Yes, he called.
He called.
And he may be limping to trap.
Of course he is. This is so
Duhamel may have him.
I raise.
Wonder if he might just jam.
40 more.
Nope.
40 more from seat 7.
I think Jungle might just flat, as weird as this is, with the position on the button. How do you think he's going to play it?
I think he might just flat with
a jungle
position on
flat
the button.
It's a jungle style call to call. Yep, that's what he does.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a great final table. I mean, think about it right now. It's an 8-handed final table, Phil Laak. We really know 6 of the participants. Sam Trickett, Jonathan Duhamel, Jungleman, Tobias Rettenmaier, Talal Shakerchi, and Dan Shack.
Yep.
Then
we have
one more player from Antonio Esfandiari and Scott Seiver. That's going to be huge.
Yep.
And one player from yourself, Jennifer Tilley, Jason Mercier, Igor, and Tony G.
Yep. Now I think that when the 8 comes, it's harder to rep a hand. I think the ace-queen kind of hands are going to call. Do you know what I'm saying? Duhamel can have ace-jack, ace-queen. I think those are much easier to call now. So I don't know if but it's kind of like, do you know what I'm saying? Like Duhamel basically has a bluff catcher anyways, because ace. This is a value call. It's just like I have. It's just kind of king-queen is kind of the same as ace-jack, or
So
you know what I'm saying? It's all the kind of the same
Ace would
class.
have checked, gentleman at an ace, he would have checked back the turn, or would he have bet as well?
I'm just saying that you can't steal pots against a guy who knows how to thin call. He's checking for value.
Wow.
That 7 actually is kind of like lively-ish. But I don't think it's going to get through Jungle. Could Jungle just say 290?
Do you have 300 or 400?
It's
I
300.
have 260.
He could. If he thinks that's like...
Did he go all in?
I don't know.
No.
He's thinking about it. If he didn't have booze running through his veins, he might get the answer that he could just win it by going all in. I love Jungle. Wow, he gets everything. Can he call
Yes,
for
he
value?
can.
He knows he's got the same as ace high. Wow. This would be like such an epic call.
Oh, he really wants to, doesn't he?
Wow.
He really
Jungle
wants
has
to.
like if the bluff goes wrong, he still has a ton of chips. And Duhamel knows this.
I think he is.
He has such.
You know, Duhamel plays the way you keep advising Jungle to play. He knows, and he never
Let's
says.
see if he can get a live tell.
You have it, or you just go drinking? Fuck that game.
He's broken. Now he's smiling. What does that mean?
He did.
That means that he's happy and comfortable with his hand.
He wants to call. He really wants to call.
I think he's just comfortable with his whole life, and the points and everything he's got. But I think Antonio would see that as a weakness, that smile.
Wow, look at these. He's pipped him. I mean, if he calls.
I call.
He's called!
Wow.
He's brilliant! He's beautiful!
But I want to see what you have.
You don't have to. You don't get to unless you turn your hand over.
Oh, wow.
King Jack.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God.
I got owned.
Wow. This is some
He
great
got
poker.
owned. He loves it.
He got owned. He value called with King High all the way to the.
Look at the smile Jungleman has on his face. He likes getting owned.
He does. He shouldn't have answered. He shouldn't have smiled, and that because Duhamel smart enough that he wouldn't say, "I know the answer now," and act. He would wait.
I got called and I'm proud.
Yeah, I know, but
mystical world.
Welcome back to Asper's Westfield Stratford City Casino.
I'm like you on this
the
one,
Party
don't worry about
Poker Premier League Poker 6 is in full flow.
It's good to hear.
Huh?
It's good to hear, although, as far as I can tell, the live reads are not effective here. Or not effective.
Mine, even though I try to do something, they're just not working. So I just,
Look at that.
I said mine are just not working, so I just stopped
Things
trying.
don't work. That's how he has the ace queen. I don't think we'd get
Trickett's
that
live
comment.
reads have been wrong like every time.
If he had
almost.
deuce 9 and he was raising, I don't think we'd hear that.
I mean, I just think Duhamel not only does not want to say about that, but about what he understands about poker, Phil. I
He
mean,
gets so much more out of these conversations than his opponent's getting. It's like he's getting the conversations during hands. The hand started and there was closure in the conversation during hand.
you know, that move he made with the ace-10 against Antonio, I mean, that was one of the most advanced moves you'll ever see. And Duhamel never said anything about it. He didn't respond about it. He didn't. I mean, it was just, you know, this guy's might be.
He's
you know, he might be Einstein. I mean, he might
doing
be
just the right amount of jiggling.
Stu Unger.
He's not trying to force any conversations. He's just doing a natural little, you know.
He's a terror. You know, in the same way that Scott Seiver looked great top to bottom in last season. I mean, the guys who start out well, like Duhamel did and Tobias did, it really shows off the best side of your game in the later heats after you win the first, doesn't it?
Yep. Let's see how Jungleman plays this monster.
32,000.
He limit raises, and now Jonathan has a monster. If he had looked up, he would have seen quiet contentment. I like this. Just let's look at the flop. I have a monster. I don't want to get blown off this hand. You know? Now let's watch. Wow. It's a great hand for 4 or 5 of them. It's not the best, but heads up, it's kind of like lots of ways to win. Pair, run.
You like
river
the
flush.
check raise?
No.
Just
check
call.
call. Just keep, I mean, you finally got some chips. Calling freezes him up too, because you know Jonathan knows. Jungleman knows that Jonathan's range is queen through 9, and there's now 3 cards out there, queen through 9. I think Jungle will correctly shut down. I think it's correct to shut down, but these guys are doing stuff that I don't do, and they win more money than me. So let's see. Maybe this is it's a jungle line, of course, and it might get through. You know, the crazy thing is, it's probably gonna get through. I mean, I keep making predictions. I'm never right, but
how much?
Can't this get through?
I
It's
don't
just
know.
bottom pair.
He's a genius.
Does Duhamel know that he's gonna go for a live tell? He's going in. No. Wow.
Did someone call for a cowboy?
Wow. Okay. I don't want to play Daniel heads up. Daniel Jungleman, the second one. These guys, when you have a hand, I guess you just have to.
I think this would be, if they weren't tired and didn't have everything tomorrow and they'd settle down for a long heads-up match, which they very well may do at the final table. I think could be very tight between them. I wonder who the edge goes to. What would you make a line? Deep stacked live action head-up match?
Nope. They're both running circles around my head, and I'm tired, and I got to play in 4 hours or whatever it is.
I think the line is that the Jungleman's a big favorite, and if that's the case, I want Duhamel. You know what I mean?
Look at these guys. Raise, re-raise, call. Can he call?
I think it might be. It feels very close.
It's about 40 is about 1/20th of a stack. You can usually peel 5% on, but he wishes that was a 5 of clubs. Let me tell you that.
So
I mean 7 of clubs, 7 of hearts.
So Jungleman just clicked him, huh? From the big blind.
Can Jonathan feel something's funny and just jam? It would get through. Look at that smile. That might be his undoing, because if Jonathan looks up, he'll see the smile, see that he's relaxed. No, he can't be relaxed.
Cool.
Wow. I'm so blown away. It is a strong hand, heads up. He's just calling because it's like, wow, a king would be super sick. Wow, Jungleman hits. I mean, if you have king 5, this is a hit. It could be check, bet, raise. Could Duhamel, if Jonathan bets, I think Jungle could find a raise. He's got a ton of
I think you're just completely onto something here. I think you're inside Jungleman's head.
By the way, if you're calling with king 5, this is brilliant flop. A 6 ace or a king could all be good.
Such a great live presence.
I love it. That's so sick. And he can't call king 7. Wow. Wow.
Owning me all the time, huh?
Huh?
You keep owning me all the time.
You own me that one hand. I gotta do something to make it back, right? Or to get you
was
back.
that the 2 jacks, you mean?
Huh?
The 2 jacks?
I did not have 2 jacks that hand.
No.
Kryptonite has to tell the truth.
That's not what I was talking about.
I mean the hand where I had 2 jacks and I folded.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, well, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, talking about the king, queen, and king jack then.
If you think about it, it's just like, it's like a thin
Look at how he
spot
started
where
to get
I
him to talk.
either get in really bad or I get in
Probably I
ahead.
would have folded too, like I told you earlier. Probably I would have folded too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I mean, it's not a big deal.
He just.
I think the king queen was just like,
Yeah.
that one you got me big time. I'm just like,
Oh,
wow,
Jungle's just so relaxed.
King queen.
Jungle's like, I never thought he had
seriously
king
owned.
queen.
He loves.
Seriously owned. He even knows he's smiling because he loves getting seriously owned.
He just loves. He loves talking poker.
Yeah.
He loves
but look
the
at
game.
how Jungle keeps the dialogue going, because he can keep him talking during the hand. He can get a live something.
Yeah, but Duhamel's trying to win the game, and all the Jungleman wants to do is talk about poker with someone who owned him, because he just loves the fact that he got in that spot. I mean,
It's absolutely brilliant.
It's like, you know.
16.
Huh?
16.
All right, we all know Jungle's not. It's not even thinking about this. This is just trivial. Oh. 3. This is super air 9 high. There's not even a draw or a backdoor or anything. Is Duhamel just gonna do a bunch of barrels? This is like. How much fun is this to watch?
Did you get to see any of the 2010 final table where Duhamel became champion? He's
I saw
incredible.
It. I saw the whole. I saw every hand. I mean, not every hand in the booth, but like, you know, the edited what they showed.
Right.
This is actually a great card for the king. It takes a lot of pressure off that your opponent had an ace. And Duhamel checks, and it will go probably check. I don't see betting for value, but I mean, I'm just acting quickly. He knows he's good. Jungle sometimes bets in these spots where he just knows he's good, and he's going to try and drive. But King Jack, you know, is going to call and beat him. So, oh no, King Jack loses. He's hoping King Jack calls.
Oops. Hope you beat that.
Huh?
Said I hope you beat that.
I beat that, yes.
All right. I feel good.
Jonathan Duhamel over here in London the last week or so. There's been a couple of tournaments, and Jonathan Duhamel, he kind of runs around with a bit of a crew, a couple friends over from Montreal. They're such fun guys.
How many of them came on this trip? Hey?
Well, Mad Marvin Rettenmaier, who's just moved into an apartment in London, had a housewarming party.
Right.
And there was quite a lot of people there. Jonathan showed up with about 5 French Canadians. And I mean, the party was going.
Right.
And then when Jonathan and his friends came in, that's when the party really, I mean, it took off. They're such fun guys.
Look at this. This is hand versus hand again. Jonathan on the button raises with 7 high. Jungle defends, and now Jungle checks his real hand, which is he has a pair, backdoor flush draw, straight draw, 2-pair draw. It's like he just keeps getting it. 6-7 for 4 came. Wow, and there he goes. He just keeps, whatever he needs. You know, 2-pair. It's pretty likely he knows he's winning. He beats all the aces, and the 4 is just such a narrow thing. I think he bets for value now. He bets out for value, hoping an ace is in there or a 10 king.
2-bet.
I mean, I can tell you that Jonathan Duhamel, he essentially plays beer pong the same way he plays poker. You know, very intense and highly aggressive. And he plays to win. What I can see.
On the button with 6-3 of diamonds.
7 legs to 40,000. 2 is all in.
I like that. He's got king 10. The jungle's like, you know what? I'm getting you low enough.
He is, and every time Duhamel gets down, then they double up. But he is getting ground away. I mean, actually, Jungleman is kind of pulverizing him, isn't he?
These the queen 8. That's a very nice hand. Heads up.
It's amazing that it's come down to this. I mean, the energy.
He calls and he's just, and now Jack 9 has a big hand. Jack 9's just gonna call him. I mean, this is just a great hand to not have to get raised with. You get to look at the flop. Jack 9. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But you know what this is, don't you?
Yes.
This is the. You do. This is the 1987 World Series of Poker main event. This is Johnny Chan and Eric Seidel.
Oh, this hand was...
No, not really. But he had a 9-jack, didn't he?
Yeah, that's
straight.
true.
It was 8-10 queen.
Oh,
and
right. Yeah,
Seidel had queen
8. Or queen...
Queen 4, I think, or something
betting
like that.
his hand.
5.
I think that Jungle has it's a simple call. Trivial call. And
Didn't Chan turn over the 9-jack? That's what he did.
Yeah. This is a card... One more notch up would have been 6 of clubs. He wishes it was one more high. He's going to rep. He's repping a 7 and a 10.
3,000.
How much it cost? 43 to collect 115.
Spot's one of those ironic spots where normally when you're in position, it's a fold. Normally when you're out of position, it's a check. Normally when you're in position, you shouldn't turn your hand to a bluff. And normally when you're out of position, you shouldn't fold. You shouldn't generally call raise, but sometimes you can.
Call.
Did you bluff me?
Yes, he did.
I know what you're talking about.
I folded a pair, obviously. But.
Up. This is 10s.
More than.
Oh, 6s. And that's not the kind of hand Duhamel wants here. He wants
Jungleman has it. He always has it.
I miscalculated.
Pretty good start.
He's going to have that.
It's about as good as you can get.
An ace would be an interesting card. That is as well. Now an ace or a queen splits it.
Wow. Ace or queen chops. What's going to come? A 4.
All right, your game, man.
Jungleman again. Very friendly between these guys, and I think they're going to go have a celebratory drink together. Let's have a look at how Group A finished. They played 4 matches, and finally, these are the league standings. Going through to the final are Jonathan Duhamel, Jungleman, and Sam Trickett. Those in the playoff are Antonio Esfandiari and Scott Seiver. And eliminated from the Premier League are Daniel Negreanu, Marvin Rettenmaier, and Phil Hellmuth, who was knocked out by Scott Seiver on a tiebreaker. He's now over with Kara Scott.
And with the table playing out the way it did, unfortunately, this is actually the last we see of you in this season's Premier League. Talk to me about how the experience was for you this year.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the way I played, and it's very disappointing to not go on, but I really am proud of the way I played. And you look back and you say, what if I would have done one thing different? You know, I tied on 21 points, and I'm out on a tiebreaker. So, ugh, you know. But I feel like I'm going to win the Premier League soon. One of these years I'm going to come and I'm going to have a little bit better cards than I had, and I think some great things are coming.
You need all those things to work together for you, so maybe season 7 Premier League, that's your year. Thank you very much. Next time, Group B are back in action for their final league match. Tobias Rettenmaier and Danchak have already locked up their places in the final, but the 6 remaining players face a tense and nervous final heat here at the Party Poker Premier League.
I'm a lucky fish. Oh, he is the sick King 8 of Diamonds guy.
You have to protect your girl. Don't let this idiot in with his 4-3-2, 6-7 combination.
That is the first time that worked in 4 heats.
You're so sick, you're a sick one!